Hi, Lady Esther here. Welcome back to my channel. My channel is about beauty, skincare, and deep thoughts. Today is Deep Thought Wednesday. Today I would like to talk about perfectionism. If you're interested in this, please stick around. Boy, this has been a journey to get ready. It takes longer to get ready to do something. I just don't move quickly, even when I try to move quickly. So this has been maybe an example in perfectionism. Sometimes there's a difference. You want to do a good job in something, but when you take it too far, then I think it becomes perfectionism. So hopefully you can't hear that fan going off. Anyway, so for those of you joining my channel for the first time, most of the time I do beauty, skincare, but every once in a while I do deep thoughts, and I usually do deep thoughts on Wednesday, but I think I'm going to mix it up and do it on different days too. I just felt like I need to mix up my videos and the content to make things more interesting, and this is a topic that's been on my mind that may or may not be helpful, but I just want to basically share my experiences with you. I'm not a therapist or anything. I'm not a professional. I am, I guess, what they like to call us as paraprofessionals. I have to get the definition on that. I'm not exactly sure what the definition on that is. So anyway, I'm going to be reading some from Perfectionism, the definition under psychology from Wikipedia, because that's just the site I'm choosing to use. So this is in regards to the psychological definition or psychology definition. So it is a personality trait characterized by a person striving for flawlessness and setting high performance standards, accompanied by critical self-evaluations and concerns regarding other evaluations. It is best conceptualized as a multi-dimensional characteristic, as psychologists agree that there are many positive and negative aspects. In its maladaptive form, perfectionism drives people to attempt to achieve unattainable ideals or unrealistic goals, often leading to depression and low self-esteem. By contrast, adaptive perfectionism can motivate people to reach their goals and to derive pleasure from doing so. Recent data shows that perfectionistic tendencies are on the rise among recent generations of young people. So you can read more about this at wikipedia.org, but this is the first time I read this from this. This is really interesting. So they have the positive or what they call the adaptive versus maladaptive forms of perfectionism. But for the adaptive form, I don't prefer to use the word perfectionism. I don't know what word I would replace that with. Maybe excellence. Aiming for excellence. I wouldn't want to. Some people say striving, but I don't like the word striving either, because that seems to be associated. You're striving. It's like being on a treadmill, going nowhere, or a hamster, like a mouse wheel, hamster wheel. You're just trying and trying and trying, and you're not really getting to go anywhere. So that would be the maladaptive form. So I found this interesting. I have been interested in psychology for a long time. I was thinking about being a therapist or doing something in the lines of psychology, I took some psychology classes at my local college. This was brought to my attention recently, and I don't know what spurred, like something will spur me to be obsessed with a particular topic and research that topic. So I'm not sure what spurred this on. So I started researching it, and I learn a lot about myself, and maybe I went through this before and thought I'm a perfectionist, but if I did, I forgot. So now it's like a new apparently it's a new revelation for me. Okay, part 2. I had to take a break earlier, and obviously I changed my shirt because I'm hot. I was really hot, and I was so tired I had to take a nap. I wanted to push through, but I just couldn't. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about, perfectionism. So I just wrote down 3 different notes here. Number 1, perfectionism hurts your self-esteem because nothing can ever be perfect. If nothing's ever good enough for you, then you're going to always be beating yourself up. And I guess I first realized, because years ago I had like an intern ADD coach because I have ADD, and I was getting ADD coaching, and I realized through that I had a lot of negative thoughts about myself, and it stems from perfectionism. Just what prevents you from saying certain things is that you're always editing what you're saying inside your head, and you're just trying to say the perfect thing, and that can drive you crazy. So overall, it hurts your self-esteem because you're aiming for perfection, and you're never going to complete anything, or if you do complete something, it's just never good enough. So, and number 2 I put down is perfectionism is living in a fantasy world, because we have to come to terms with, you can't be perfect, I can't be perfect, the world is not perfect. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought it was supposed to. I thought things were supposed to go a certain way, or like, because I'm like more of a big rule follower, and I thought, well, people are supposed to play by the rules. They're supposed to follow the rules, and they don't. So overall, in the mind of a perfectionist, it's a fantasy world. And I think you can see that when you read comments about, this is what I would call being perfectionistic. If people nitpick everything you say, or if they nitpick your grammar, I consider that person would be, well, they're just picking things apart. They're a perfectionist. And so I notice that. I notice when I make a mistake in what I say or what I write, but the difference now is I don't beat myself up about it. I still have a long way to go in other areas, but it doesn't help you if you call yourself names or whatnot, or let other people call you names for these little slips of the tongue or writing mistakes. But then there's the trolls that they really enjoy toying with people. But that's another psychological issue. Psychologists, you can, if you're a psychologist, write that in the box below. Trolling, the new psychology of 2020. Number 3, perfectionism stops you from trying. That's kind of related to what I just said. You may say to yourself, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. So There's a overachieving perfectionist, and an underachieving perfectionist. An underachieving perfectionist would be a person that doesn't really try because they're so afraid of failing. They maybe they're afraid of failing, or they know they can't do a perfect job, so they don't do it at all. Then there's the perfectionist overachiever who pushes, and yeah, they do good work, but there's a cost to their psyche, to their mental health. So I think a lot of things is about balance. You know, you don't want to not try, but then you don't want to try too hard. And, you know, for the people that are trying really hard, like they'll look at the they have this high standard and they apply it to other people, and they get mad at the people when they're not living up to the standard that they set for their own lives. You know, like if let's say they're working and they see a bunch of people not doing anything because they don't need to do anything, and that person will like be really angry that these people are just sitting around doing nothing, and because they're like, look at all this work I'm doing, why aren't you guys doing anything? You know, that's I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent there, but that's another, like, I guess you would call that perfectionist, that's pushing the standards they have for themselves onto other people, which that's a boundary issue, because you can't do that, because everybody has their own choices, the way they want to live their life, and you can't push your standards on to other people. So I hope that makes sense. That's all the notes I have here. Could this be under 20 minutes? So my goal was to keep this video shorter, under 20 minutes. I know I'm going to forget something on this topic. I should have. It would have been good if I would have written more extensive notes to keep me on track. But I had remembered some points about the perfectionism. So perfectionism, there's many aspects of depression. There's like biological, like genetic, biological, chemical, situational depression. But perfectionism could make you depressed. I know it has to me. You know, if you have that nagging voice in your head that keeps on telling you're not doing it right, you're not good enough, you're not doing it right, do it better, try harder, keep on trying, and it almost mocks you, like, try harder, knowing that you're trying to be perfectionism, and laughs at you when you fall flat on your face. So can you see how that would lead to depression? So I was in a period of my life some years ago. I've struggled with depression off and on, but some years ago I was in this very clear mindset, and honestly I don't know what brought me to the mindset. I don't know if something triggered me to get me to that mindset, but I was in the clear mindset of why bother? Because it was, to finish the sentence, why should I bother doing anything? Because nothing I do matters. And my whole attitude was like, why bother? And yeah, if that's true, if nothing you do matters, then yeah, why bother? But that wasn't true. The last part of that, nothing I do matters, was not true. That was false. So I was just reminded of this quote from Mother Teresa. And it says, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. So I thought that was a real fitting quote to nothing I do matters, or when you feel small. In reality, the things that we do, like the small things that we do, that when we think they're small, they may be huge for another person. Like just a small act of kindness may impact somebody else's life. It may be ginormous. It may be huge for another person. But to us, it was like the least we could do, or, you know, we just did the best we could. And we have no idea the impact that our act had on another person. So I believe that is it for this video on perfectionism. There's so much more to say. I'll put some links below if anybody is struggling with mental health issues. Of course, you know, the standard suicide hotline. I am not a therapist. This is not intended to diagnose, cure any type of disease or condition. That's my disclaimer. I will add another disclaimer. So this is just my opinion, along with something I read off of Wikipedia. But this is not just my opinion though, it was my experience. So it's my life experience has been basically, you know how the stock market goes up and down and up and down and up and down? That's been my life experience. So what I would like to know, give me feedback if you want to discuss this further. I was thinking of some other topics that I could talk about later. You know, I tried to keep it somewhat lighthearted. I don't want to get into really controversial topics, but my mind escapes me as the topics I was going to. Oh, okay, so I was going to talk, I was thinking about, there's a quote that I think a lot of people are familiar with, like, comparison is the thief of joy. I was thinking about doing a video on comparison and some other. That's why I believe in, when you have an idea, get a book, a journal, and write it down. I have books, like notebooks. I prefer these spiral bound notebooks because you can fold them nicely. I have books and books all over the place, so that I get from the Dollar Store. If you like this video, please click the like button, hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. Be sure and hit the bell button to be reminded of new videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.